Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Françoise Vamek. I'll be your host for this webinar. I'm the co-founder of ONSIA Community, a newly launched cancer foundation endorsed by IBA. Our mission is to raise awareness of integrative oncology and to support cancer patients during and after their treatments. So let's take a look at the agenda of this webinar. This educational webinar is part of a broad program that tackles all the challenges involved in setting up and running an integrative cancer care centers. Today, this third session is focusing on the positive impact of integrative medicine in oncology as more and more demonstrated by clinical evidence. We are very pleased to welcome today Dr. Sher from the Institute Raphael. He will go through the clinical benefits of integrative oncology. But before we begin, here are some practical details. The webinar will last for 30 minutes. This webinar is being recorded and a replay will be available. If you have any questions or comments, please use the Q&A button and don't use the chat button. We'll address all your questions during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. What is integrative oncology? It combines complementary care with standard conventional treatments with the aim to improve health outcomes by treating not just the disease, but also taking care of the comprehensive needs of the individual. Complementary medicine encompasses body, mind, spirit, nutrition, education, reinsertion, and much more. There is growing evidence that an integrative approach improves patients' overall well-being and even treatment outcomes, improving quality of life, improving tolerance to treatment, improving recovery rate, reducing risk of secondary cancer. Before Dr. Sher's presentation, I propose to begin with a brief video introducing the Institute Raphael. The Institute Raphael is a leading European center in integrative medicine, combining conventional medical treatments with complementary therapies.
On ne peut pas revenir à la vie d'avant parce qu'on a été transformé, mais c'est une nouvelle vie qui commence.
L'Institut Raphael, pour moi, c'est la maison du bonheur. C'est là où on retrouve le sourire.
Depuis que j'ai croisé la route de l'Institut Raphael, c'est comme si j'étais née une deuxième fois.
J'adore. Avec le cancer, on parle de rémission. Mais là, en plus de la rémission, on se régénère, quoi. On trouve plus de force.
Les gens découvrent qu'ils ont envie de vivre, qu'ils aiment la vie et que les autres sont indispensables aussi.
L'Institut Raphael m'a fait prendre conscience que la vie valait vraiment la peine d'être vécue et qu'il fallait se battre tous les jours, jamais rien lâcher, garder la pêche, s'appuyer sur les gens qui nous entourent.
L'après-cancer est parfois plus difficile que pendant. Il y a beaucoup d'angoisse, de peur qui remontent.
Ah, l'Institut Raphael, c'est merci d'exister, quoi.
C'est énorme.
Oui, c'est dur d'être malade, mais d'avoir cet accompagnement-là hyper fort et touchant autour de nous, clairement, on n'a pas envie de lâcher, quoi. Donc ça nous aide, vraiment. Et puis à se projeter peut-être pour après, quoi.
C'est ce qui m'a permis de reprendre confiance en moi, de rencontrer plein de monde et ne pas être centrée sur la maladie que la maladie.
Le fait d'être porté par un objectif, d'y aller ensemble, en équipe, de se dépasser. Et ça, c'est important de bénéficier de toutes ces infrastructures, puis d'arriver à avoir ces espaces bienveillants pour que chacun, sur ce ring, arrive à combattre sa maladie comme il arrive à dépasser ses objectifs.
Ça m'a permis de retrouver, entre guillemets, goût à la vie, quoi.
On peut relever tous les défis avec les patients et pour nous, ça nous donne encore plus d'espoir avec cette maladie pour pouvoir continuer à la combattre et la combattre avec beaucoup de force.
Je remercie le ciel, mon étoile, voilà, de m'avoir amené jusqu'à cet institut.
Ces moments-là, ça m'est devenu indispensable. Donc je le fais avec plaisir. Quand on arrive à Raphaël, on est au centre du truc.
C'est une super expérience. Je ne me suis pas sentie malade.
Je pleure en cachette, mais voilà. Mais après, il faut être forte et solide, oui, oui.
Là, on est dans la vraie bagarre mentale.
L'énergie vitale, toujours, la résilience. Bienvenue à l'Institut Raphaël, c'est chez nous.
Now I hand over the floor to Dr. Scher. Thank you, Dr. Scher, for joining us today. I let you present the clinically proven benefits of integrative medicine in oncology.
Thank you, Françoise. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to talk to you today about integrative oncology. It's a subject which we don't talk a lot about, but it is a very important subject in our daily practice. First of all, to introduce our presentations, it is important to remind that cancer is responsible for more than 25% of total deaths in Europe, and that 5 years after cancer treatment, there is 63% of patients suffer from sequelae, and 50% of patients that are limited in their physical activity. There is almost 50% of patients who suffers from fatigue. That's the data from the VEACON-5 study. Important data also is that 51% of cancer patients that use complementary treatment. In pediatrics oncology, it's 80%, so a lot of more. And the prevalence of complementary and alternative medicine use in cancer patients in the last 10 years was found to be slightly over half of all surveyed populations in the medical literature. Now, epidemiologic data. First, in USA, integrative oncology, it's important. There is 45 national cancer institutes, and in this National Cancer Institute, there is 60% centers that have integrative medicine doctors. There is 91 offer consultations on nutrition, 73 that offer acupuncture, and almost 70% that offer meditations and yoga. In France, data are different. There is 400 unconventional care practices that have been identified, and there is 60% of patients that using this practice and suffer from cancer. So now we have to define what is integrative medicine. Key principles of integrative medicine include patients and practitioners that are partners, all factors that influence health, wellness, and disease are considered, including mind, spirit, body. Appropriate use of both conventional and alternative methods facilitates the body's innate healing response. Effective interventions that are less invasive should be whenever possible and combined with conventional approaches. So good medicine is based in good science. It is open to new paradigm and use of rigorous scientific studies to evaluate the effectiveness of treatment. Alongside the concept of treatment, the broader concept of health promotions and the prevention of illness are paramount. So we have defined what is integrative medicine. Now we have to define what is integrative oncology. So integrative oncology is the cross between conventional medicine, self-care, and non-drug approaches. And in the center, you have integrative oncology, and there are several key aspects that include supporting the body's natural ability to heal through nutritional support, physical activity, and mind-body interventions. Using evidence-based complementary therapies, personalizing the care, and fostering the partnership between the patients and the healthcare providers. Integrative oncology promotes healthy lifestyle choices that can help reduce the risk of cancer recurrence and improve overall well-being. Now I will give you a few examples about integrative oncology practice. First, acupuncture. Traditional Chinese medicine is based on approach that views human as an integral part of their environment. It includes acupuncture, but also Qigong, Chinese herbal medicine, Chinese dietary therapy, and massage. Acupuncture refers to the set of techniques for the punctual stimulations of specific points, known as acupuncture points. And acupuncture aims at healing, but primarily at prevention. This is an example of study about acupuncture for cancer pain. In this study, acupuncture has shown promise in managing different types of cancer pain, including the neuropathic pain from chemotherapy, pain from surgery, joint pain associated with aromatase inhibitor therapy in breast cancer, and also xerostomia induced by radiotherapy. Another example of study and literature reviews that suggests that acupuncture has a therapeutic potential in management of cancer-related fatigue. So promotion of acupuncture in cancer care to manage the CRF, cancer-related fatigue, may improve the quality of life of cancer survivors. So to sum up, the indication for acupuncture in integrative oncology include nausea and vomiting, pain, hot flashes, cancer-related fatigue, xerostomia, sleep disturbance, and anxiety. You have the recommendations for the management of cancer-related fatigue published in the NCCN guidelines recently in October 2023. So as you can see, about non-pharmacological intervention, you have physical activities that is recommended with a high level of evidence, and you have also acupuncture and other psychological intervention, and nutrition is very important also in this setting. Non-pharmacological interventions such as physical therapy and/or psychological interventions are effective and superior to conventional therapy in reducing cancer-related fatigue during and after cancer treatment. Here we have an example of a study about adapted physical activities in patients with advanced pancreatic cancer. This is the result from a prospective national randomized French trial, which has been presented at ASCO 2022. Patients with advanced pancreatic cancer and ECOG performance status between 0 and 2 were randomized 1-to-1 to receive either usual care, including the first-line chemotherapy, or usual care plus a home-based 16-week adapted physical activity program, which consisted of personalized aerobic and resistant exercises with a weekly remote supervision by an APA professional trainer. The primary objective was the effect on quality of life at week 16, measured by the ERTC-QLQC30 quality of life scale, which evaluates global health status, physical functioning, and the fatigue. In this study, adapted physical activity was associated with significant improvements in the 5 scale, the general health status, the physical functioning, the cognitive functioning, the social functioning, and the appetite loss, and an improvement in 8 points in emotional functioning, insomnia, pain, and also financial difficulty. So that's a very important study that shows that adapted physical activity in combination with usual care improve several dimensions of quality of life in patients with advanced pancreatic cancer receiving first-line chemotherapy. In general, studies have shown that engaging physical activity can help cancer patients with alleviating symptoms such as fatigue, which is one of the most common side effects in cancer treatment, also improving psychological well-being by reducing anxiety, depression, and improving mood, enhancing physical capabilities like strength, flexibility, endurance. And the last important thing about physical activities in cancer patients, that adapted physical activity could potentially reducing the risk of cancer recurrence and improving survival rates for certain types of cancer. Yoga is a mind-body practice that has gained significant attention in the field of oncology as a complementary therapy for cancer. It incorporates physical postures, breathing exercises, meditation, and relaxation techniques, which can offer various benefits for cancer patients and survivors. Some studies are providing promising results regarding its efficacy in symptoms management and quality of life improvements for cancer patients. So that's an example of study. It's a yoga protocol for cancer patients and an exploration of the psychological benefits, physical benefits, and about symptoms management. So the results show that about physical benefits, it's improved flexibility and strength. About psychological benefits, it's improved a reduction in stress and improve the mood and the quality of life. And about symptoms management, yoga can reduce pain and help the management of treatment side effects. And also there is other study about lymphedema management in the setting of breast cancer. This randomized trial explored the effect of exercise and eating a healthy diet that improve chemotherapy completion and also the pathological complete response, so the PCR, in women diagnosed with breast cancer and receiving chemotherapy. This intervention led to improvement in diet quality, physical activity levels, and also the pathological complete response rates compared with usual care. So, this study shows it is possible and may increase the pathological complete response with this program. There are also many data today that encourage a healthy diet and a regular exercise in women with breast cancer requiring chemotherapy. Another study published in Advance in Radiation Oncology that talk about an integrative medicine educational program called IMEP that was developed to assess its ability to improve patient self-efficacy for symptoms management. And as you can see, surveys were designed to assess improvement in self-efficacy and likelihood of disclosing complementary or alternative therapy used by patients and patient satisfaction compared to baseline. The conclusion is that a radiation-specific integrative medicine educational program results in high rate of intention to disclose the complementary and alternative medicine used by patients, and also an improvement in patients' reported self-efficacy to manage radiation-related symptoms. So this point is very interesting because you see that with a specific program. And when you allow patients to do a self-empowerment, you can improve the patient's reported self-efficacy to manage himself the related symptoms to radiation here, but also to side effect of chemotherapy. This is an example of another complementary therapy that we use in Raphael Institute, for example, but that is used in various hospitals. It's the photobiomodulation, also called low-level laser therapy. And the LLLT has found various clinical applications in the management of side effects associated with cancer treatment, particularly in the management of radiation-induced side effects. So here are some of the notable clinical applications: the management of oral mucositis, the lymphedema in post-surgery of breast cancer, the prevention and treatment of radiation dermatitis, the pain management, and also the neuropathy. Here it's an example of a study that we have done in Raphael Institute that explored the impact of photobiomodulation on the occurrence of mucositis in patients undergoing radiotherapy for head and neck cancer. And we see that the photobiomodulation significantly delay the onset of grade 2 mucositis in patients treated for head and neck cancer with radiotherapy. So now, with our patients, it is systematically offered to all our patients from the first radiotherapy session to the end of the radiotherapy treatment, and also sometimes 2 or 3 weeks after the completion of radiotherapy. Here are some examples of the applications of photobiomodulations in the management of side effects for head and neck. It is important to talk about guidelines in integrative oncology, and we are lucky because ASCO has published guidelines about the integrative oncology care of anxiety and depression in adults with cancer. As you can see, this is the recommendations about depression symptoms in a patient with cancer or with a history of cancer. And as we can see, mindfulness-based interventions are very important, and there is a strong level of evidence. Mindfulness-based intervention are therapeutic approaches incorporating mindfulness practices like meditation and mindful awakeness. These interventions aim to cultivate present moments, attentions, and non-judgmental awareness, often used to enhance mental health, reduce stress, and promote overall well-being. There are also other integrative therapy that are recommended during active treatment or post-treatment for depression symptoms such as yoga, reflexology, musicotherapy. Another guidelines and recommendations about management of anxiety in cancer patients. During active treatment, mindfulness-based intervention show high level of evidence. Yoga is also recommended. For hypnosis, it is also important in the management of anxiety in cancer patients. Here are the recommendations published by ASCO about management of pain in oncology. As we discussed previous, there is different types of pain in oncology. There is the aromatase inhibitor induced pain, and in this setting, acupuncture and yoga are recommended to manage this kind of pain, because we know that it impacts the quality of life of our patient, and that pharmacological treatment have not a good efficacy. So it's important to use complementary therapies such as acupuncture and yoga. For chemotherapy-induced peripheral neuropathy, acupuncture and reflexology could also be used. So here you have different examples to manage pain in cancer patients, and this pain management consists in conventional and pharmacological treatments and complementary therapies. You can see the model for integrative medicine at MD Anderson Cancer Center. Integrative oncology enriches cancer care by combining conventional treatment with complementary therapy, focusing on the whole persons. It aims to improve patients' quality of life, alleviate symptoms, and reduce treatment side effects, fostering physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being alongside the primary oncological treatment. Thanks a lot for your attention, and I will be happy to reply to questions.